to the Transcendence Quantum Life podcast. This is your host, Jessica Alstrom, and this is my first live podcast in over about 9+ months, maybe even a good solid year. It's been a fast-moving timeline that we are all on right now, and I couldn't even believe when I looked at it that I haven't podcasted in about a year. I just wanted to thank everybody who's been following my work over the last couple of years and allowing me to kind of share my heart and my journey with everyone. And every podcast that I've ever done has been from a place of real-time understanding and learning. And I think that that's what makes my work a little bit unique, in the fact that I have never really found it valuable to move faster than the collective healing process. So I find myself moving at speed with what everybody else in the world is going through in real time, and then just having the courage to tell my stories about it and how I'm moving through it with my higher guidance. As a channel, people think that when you channel, you have all the answers, and that you know all the secret codes and the cheat codes and how to manifest your reality, and that is absolutely true. But the difference with people that they don't understand is knowing all the answers and then living your life in accordance to those answers is the most difficult thing that we have to do on this planet. It's not what we know, it's not what we think, it's what we do, and what we do with all of that knowledge that's gifted to us. And, as you've probably seen 100 times over at this point, you've met a lot of amazing gurus and teachers and workshop hosts, and you get to know them, and on a personal level, you realize that their life's not that more, that more put together than yours. And as a teacher, my job is not to be better at anything than anyone. It's just to be at a level of compassion and constant work on self, which means that I'm a big believer that I'm going to go as fast as I can, accept and surrender and move through my own stuff. I'm not here to go faster than anyone. I'm here to just, keep the light on the trail, and to move with the place that which I resonate, which is the place of teachers and students and masters and, indigos and lightworkers and starseeds, that we're here with a extra set of intuitive guidance, and we're here with a deeper level of empathy. And so our level of responsibility is a little higher because we have something that people are just moving into, and that's called awareness. And when you have a higher level of awareness, the world is even more confusing because you have this deep understanding of who you are, and yet you don't really know how to operate your vehicle. You don't know how to, move through that knowing and that understanding when you have these circumstances in your life that we've created, and I say, the obstacles of the game. It's time, it's money, it's health, it's relationships. And what we're moving through collectively right now on the planet is we are working through old karmic energy around relationships. And I know that whatever I'm going through, and I don't say this out of arrogance, I know whatever I'm going through is a collective response. I know that we're all going through the same patterning in different storylines. And so I feel not obligated, but inspired to share how I'm powering along with this, because the one thing that I do every single day is I hold myself accountable to who I choose to become. And I say to myself, especially on my darkest times, in my darkest hours, I'm not going to give up on you. And we're going to find the light in the dark. We're going to find the answers to these questions. We're going to find the love in the fear. We're going to do this. And I've never really felt like I had a choice as far as, not being able to do this work. It's definitely something that I remember signing up for long before this incarnation, and it is definitely something that motivates me and keeps me on an accelerated path every day. I wanted to give a shout out to all of my students in TICA, which is Transcendence International Consciousness Academy. That is our online university of higher self. It is not a place where you come and learn my definition of energy healing or my definition of spirituality. It is where you come to learn yours. And you find your voice, you find your spark, and you turn it into fire. And what I've noticed that helps everyone accelerate the fastest is the support system. Because when you're going through this journey, it's sometimes you're the only light in the dark. And so sometimes you need something to reflect off of. And it's not so much about going within, it's about connecting right now and seeing the answers to your questions in others and having them say them out loud, and people, finishing your comments in your head and understanding exactly what it feels like to be you, and, sharing with you unconditional love and being a true journeyman with you as you go along this journey. Because, one thing that we all have collectively felt at some point on some time is that it's pretty lonely to do this work, because, what we do is we're seeds. So we're surrounded by dirt. We're surrounded by people who don't understand us. We've been surrounded by judgment, which is how we downloaded self-judgment and how we learn to judge others. And then we've been fighting against that current until we've moved into our state of asking to become. And as soon as we've asked to become, then what happens is we have to unbecome. And we unbecome everything that we're not. And if you've followed my teachings, you've heard me say a million times, everything you see is filtered through your belief systems. Everything you feel is filtered through those belief systems, because you are a collective of your thought, words, and deeds. You are a collective of observations practiced and law of attraction viewpoints. So what happens is you went along your life and you've observed something. You practiced something, and then it downloaded into your subconscious, and now you don't have to be present for that belief. It is there, it is a current, it is a neural pathway, it has a life of its own, and it will dictate how you see the world, how you feel the world, and how you understand your world. And it happens so quickly in those first 7 years, especially those core belief systems. So you have core belief systems that you built around your old timelines. So anything you've come in with in your past lives, you've centered and anchored in your first 7 years. So if if you came here to heal some compassion issues or work through some fear, you brought that into your life and into this life, and you've hand chosen your parents and your bloodline and your lineage in order to be able to act out all of those frequencies that you're here to clear in this life, which is why the first 7 years is the process of basically pushing you way down into the dirt as far as what you believe love is. And in Tika, we've been talking a lot about love and patterns around love, and we are as a collective moving into the frequency of war. And I don't mean war like we've been playing out the last millions of years on this planet, but I mean the war that we're really fighting here underneath all of the roots of all the programming, and that's the war of love, the war on love. And as soon as we realize as a collective that we are love, then we won't be so afraid of it. I promise you, everything that you're doing right now is to avoid being hurt. Everything that you're right now running the programs from the old past is a protection program. We've been doing a lot of healing of trauma around old patterns in Tika lately. And for anybody who is not in Tika, you're probably following me on Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life, which is my subscription group on Facebook. And I developed that. Let me back up a little bit. First and foremost, anybody who is like me, who has a big voice and isn't afraid to share their passion, probably wants to get into something like I'm doing or some phase of what I'm doing. And I chose podcasting first because I was afraid to put my face on the screen. I was afraid to do the videos because I didn't want to be judged for how I looked, or I didn't want to be critiqued. And so for me, sitting in front of a microphone and a blank screen was my first path of least resistance step into sharing my work. And podcasting took me all the way into my becoming of feeling safe enough to put my face on the videos. And so that's when I said, I really love my Tika group, and we're in 14 countries, and we're making a huge impact on the world, developing these teachers and reminding all of these people of who they are. And I said, I want to be able to help everybody that can't necessarily commit to a year-long journey with me, And so I developed Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life on Facebook, which is a closed Facebook group. And what I do is kind of a micro version of the teachings. You're getting everything that you won't find on YouTube on that page. I'm doing channeled messages and channeled Q&As, and we're posting classes in there and live healings in there. And that's been my new voice, a way to connect live. And it's all live, and it's all filmed live, and none of it's edited. And I do a very unconventional living environment now where I am in a communal living space. Basically, to me, the community living where everybody takes care of everybody, it's reminding us that we are not individuals, but the unity factor of what it actually takes to heal this planet. And the connection of many people taking care of each other has really allowed me to help and heal a lot of my trauma around family, and a lot of trauma around relationships, and allowed me to understand that blood is not necessarily your family, but connection and soul connection is your tribe. It is your soul family. It's almost like, your blood family was there to kind of screw you up, and your soul family is there to put you back together. And so I've been really kind of non-secretive about my lifestyle with that. And, I live with another single mom, and we're raising children together. And it's, I live with my book editor and who's part of Transcendence A-Team. And, and we have, we work and live and play under one roof. And it's been an amazing experience of fast, accelerated growth, because the thing is if you really want to know who you are, throw yourself in lots of different types of relationships. And because, again, your triggers are your teacher. Your triggers are going to be your activation point of trauma. And so there's nothing like being activated constantly in order to grow rapidly. And that's what we've all done together. Fortunately, there's enough unconditional love there, and we're all on the same mission, that we really have been able to work through anything and everything that has been a block in the past that we've normally all ran away from. And that's been a reward mechanism that we use for our patterning, is to just try to outrun ourselves. And what we're finding is, in this unbecoming process, is that we're not really able to outrun ourselves anymore. And so what I've tried to do is put myself out there as much as possible, and utilize my circumstances and manifestations as my teacher, as my guru, like I have always taught. There is no one that is above you, and there is no one that is outside of you, as far as someone who holds more sacred knowledge in you, someone who has more gifts than you. It doesn't exist. The only thing that stands in the way of you being the best version of yourself is the filter systems that you've created to hide from yourself. It's like you had to dull your light in order to stay in your family dynamic, because who you were wasn't acceptable or allowed. And we've been humiliated, we've been guilt and shamed, we've been taught all about fear, and we've been taught that love hurts. And that's one big pattern that we've been clearing here in Tika the last couple of weeks, is that I noticed the common denominator between all of us is that we all had a root fear or a root belief system that love hurts. And that's because, the first 7 years of our life, we observed, practiced, and then downloaded a program where the idea of love, which is supposed to be unconditional and free-flowing and abundant, is actually contractive and painful, and it's about denial. And so what we're doing is we're healing that in our pattern work that I've been graciously downloaded through my guidance over the last couple of weeks. I've noticed something about me is when I'm ready to grow, or I'm ready to get some new material to teach, I too have to go through hell. And I know this is all chosen, because what I was gifted this morning in my walk, where I do my meditations, was, my higher self basically said everything that's being created right now for you, and when I say for me, I mean you, all of us out here, is being completely orchestrated now by higher self. The higher self is actually outlining all of your circumstances and events, all of your manifestations that are occurring in this now moment with the frequency on the planet of 2017 are being completely orchestrated by the bigger version of you in order to get you to that pressure point where you become the light. So whatever you're experiencing right now is not happening to you. It's happening through you. It's happening from you. Higher self is the one keeping the relationships at arm's length that you really want to lose yourself in. Higher self is the one that's keeping certain aspects away from you of freedom so that you realize where your real freedom relies. It's keeping the old security blankets away from us right now so that we can repattern our belief systems, because it is only when there is an ebb, and when I say ebb, I mean there's ebb and there's a flow. When there's a flow, you don't have attention units on what you need to fix. When you have an ebb, when there is lack of something, you fire up what's called desire, which is the first step of manifestation, and you begin to activate that perspective and hold space for that desire, and then that desire can birth the solution and the rest of the manifestational process to you. But if you're never in an ebb situation, when you're never without something, you're never there to fill the void and expand the universe. And that's how the universe expands, is through desire, through need, through want, through all of these things that we are. And it is that way that right now higher self is orchestrating your life. So if you can step back and look at the things that you normally were doing that higher self will just not allow you to do anymore, and you could somehow look at that as a gift to yourself, because what it's doing is it's creating more awareness. And we're here for self-realization. We're here to realize ourselves back to light. We are here to connect with other people, to walk with. We are here to become unlimited and to remind ourselves again that we have all of the sacred knowledge and the sacred gifts buried deep within us, and all we have to do is uncover it. That's really what it is. And that's why in Tika, I don't go anywhere other than ever frequency and vibration. I don't teach spiritual modalities unless they are completely in alignment with frequency and vibration. None of my teachings have anything to do with anything other than frequency and vibration, because that's all we are dealing with here. Is when you're in fear, you're going to attract fear. And I want to really clarify this because it came to me loud in my walk this morning. I'm going to kind of go through frequency and vibration just a little bit to remind you, since I've been a little rusty teaching it and you haven't heard from me in a while. But the frequency that you are constantly or currently or chronically vibrating in will be your reality, which means that if you have chronic fear in your subconscious holding place of your energy field, you will chronically, consistently attract fear-based realities. Okay, and fear does not mean that you're scared. Fear means lots of different things. It means codependency. It means things are constantly breaking down or not working for you. It means that you constantly feel victimized by the universe. And when you're in that state of being, your higher self can only communicate to you through the path of least resistance, which is fear itself, and it will deliver to you its version of how it communicates to you, which is highest excitement, which means that when you're in fear, your highest excitement is fill in the blank. When you're in doubt, your highest excitement is fill in the blank, because highest excitement is usually how we navigate through our patterns. It's how we navigate through frequency and vibration. So if I'm in fear, and I don't know I'm in fear, because let me explain something. Because you are this me, myself, and I, and as the book comes out, it will really combine the understanding of frequency and vibration and how you are three different frequencies and vibrations that make up one communication source to the universe. The I am is the unity aspect of self. It is you. It is the universe. It's the fractaled version of God that is reminding and knowing that it is God. And then you have the myself, and the myself is the body component. It's your biological computer that's holding the storage of the Akashic records and your timelines and your memories and your functions and your biological suit that you get to wear to be in the belief system that you are third dimensional material. And that is holding it all together. It is the vehicle that both I am and me. The me is the my. The me is the me is the my ego. Okay, it is the smaller version of you, the unknowing version of you, the limited version of you, the mortal version of you, the parasitic version of you, the critic version of you. it is this version of you that has been traumatized. It is the wounded inner child. So you have the me, you have the myself, which is the body. And if you looked at the myself as the car, the vehicle that both I am and me drive, okay, and when you're in higher self, the I am is driving the body. And when you're in the me, the ego is driving the body. And these three components have three different vibrations. The me is the chronic victim. The myself is the balance between the I am and the me, which is constantly going, you know, I am love, I am not loved, I am love, I am not loved. And there's a discommunication or a disconnection that happens in the body. And that's why the body is delivering you such a potpourri or mixed signaled version of reality. Because again, your body is the electromagnetic suit that converts energy into matter. And so if your body is converting the energy of I am and me into matter, then you're going to get a mixed reality that's projected through the mind and gifting you what you believe to be your video game of reality. And you're going to be confused by that. But the only reason is because you're at war with yourself. You're at war with your own beliefs. You're at war with love. You're at war with the war is I am love and I am not loved. That is the war that's going on within. And so as long as we continue to fight that, we're going to have this mixed message of manifestations that shows up. And that's why I've been so passionate about doing this pattern work lately, because it isn't until we go into the patterns, the deep parts of our belief systems, the mindsets, that we are unaware of why we continue to manifest on the outside what it is that we are hiding from ourselves on the inside. You know, we just are leaving the Gemini season. And the Gemini season is about knowing higher self, and also it's shining light on the lower self. And so April and May were all about your secrets being exposed to yourself. You know, you were starting to see things about yourself that you are not in resonant point with anymore. Your behaviors are, you're so aware now that your old behaviors are shining towards you, and you're not very happy with yourself. And so what's been happening is we've been moving into the lower self and find self-judgment instead of moving into the higher self and saying, wow, I've just been following a pattern. I've just been showing up in the character that I believe myself to be, instead of, you know, going down into the me where the self-judgment is, and the denial and the disassociation and the rejection lie. So we've been doing a lot of work in Tika on this, and we are navigating in real time, which means that I am guinea pigging myself through this pattern experience that I've been downloaded, and it's gifted to me in 7 steps. And these 7 steps are going to be available in Tika, but also in a workshop modality that you don't have to go through the whole Tika program to get, because I really just want everyone to be able to work through their patterns from the highest place of awareness, which means that even NLP, when you're doing NLP pattern work, you're doing it from me and myself. You're doing it from the body, and you're doing it from the ego, and you're allowing higher self to be present. But this new pattern this new pattern clearing, this quantum pattern clearing, is actually allowing you to go from the universe, from source energy down into the smaller self to help repattern ourselves. And so it's very mind-blowing for the ego to experience being loved so unconditionally during this pattern work that in the beginning your ego can actually even resist the process, and that's why we're going so slow with it. There's going to be in total about 8 to 10 hours of this pattern clearing work that I'm teaching in modalities. You can find a place to pre-order it on our website, and that's transcendencekc.com, or Jessica Alstrom, quantumlife.com, I believe, jessicaalstrom.com. Or find us on Facebook. I have a free group on Facebook that I do energetic channeled messages. And really what this is about is it's about going back to the root of who we are, and that is frequency and vibration, and knowing that in any moment all we are doing is channeling and acting out different frequencies and vibrations. And so if we want a different life, we have to master different frequencies and vibrations. We were just talking about this in our morning meeting here at the house. You know, a lot of us are going through big changes in relationships. And, you know, there's a lot of women on staff at Transcendence, and we've all been that relationship girl, where we have never been alone. We're always caretaking or you know, responsible for someone. And what we're all noticing is that higher self in this moment, because higher self is navigating your manifestations right now, is not allowing us to have or be in those codependent relationships like we're used to being comfortable in. We were uncomfortably comfortable. And higher self is just not allowing that anymore, because we are here to have this relationship with ourself that we've never had. And we have to be able to relate to ourselves, because here's the thing, you've learned who you are through who you are around others. We don't know who we are without these storylines. We don't know who we are outside of relationship, girl. We don't know who we are, in a relationship. We don't know who we are as an entrepreneur. We don't know who we are as a healer. We know that we want to be all of these things. We know that that's in our heart, that it's jumping out of our chest, that wants to create this amazing life, but we don't actually know the navigation of the feelings that are going to come with all of these new aspects and directions that higher self are taking us into right now. And it's an unknown, and it's scary. And so what we're doing is we're finding ourselves still making choices in these lower vibrations. And so, I have a frequency and vibration chart that I have online for free. If you go to Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life on Facebook, and it's just free for everybody to kind of be able to navigate where you are and where you are in life. And, honestly, below fear and judgment, there are actually frequencies below fear and judgment that we will do everything in our power to avoid. And so we stay in fear of basically humiliation, grief, and the ultimate is the numbness. When we move into that state of numbness, it's almost like we've detached. We've detached from our central guidance system because it isn't safe for us to feel. And higher self is basically just creating lots and lots and lots of amazing obstacles for you right now to push you into your state of awareness so that you can rise up, so you can become, which means that in order to become, we have to unbecome. And as we start to unbecome, we realize that we don't want to be playing out these patterns anymore. We don't want to be living these small lives anymore. We want to be living our divine purpose. We want to get paid to be ourselves. We want the magic to show up that we visualize about. We want those soul-mated counterpoint relationships instead of the twin flame, heroin, traumatic, self-destructive relationships. We want to feel whole. We want to love the me, myself, and I as in a unity perspective. Because what happens is when the me, myself, and I is out of alignment, we go searching for something to fill the void. When the me feels victimized, it needs another me to feel whole. When the myself is confused, it will seek out things to manifest so that it is less confused. And so it will give you signals, it will give you body pain, it will give you aches, it will give you all sorts of things to say, hey, look, there's a miscommunication going on in my body. There's an out of alignment frequency going here, and I need some attention. And the I am is constantly playing through that path of least resistance to communicate to both body and ego and say, you know what, it's time for us all to play on the same team. It's time for us to end this war. It's time for us to heal and remember that we are love and that we are not seeking love, that we are not here to get love. We are love. And that is the message that the ego will never understand until it plays out all of its patterns and the patterns stop working for you. See, the thing is when the patterns stop working for you, you have to become aware. You have to start looking in a new direction. So this is exactly what higher self wants for us right now. And it's uncomfortable, and so what we've been doing here is we've been doing our steps of moving up the frequency chart. And the fastest way to de-anchor yourself from a lower frequency is to surrender. And I don't mean to give up, it means to literally, however you need to act it out, you need to hand over your knowing to something out that is greater than yourself, which is God, which is source, which is whatever you choose to call that, and say, you know what? I have been in this fear pattern for a really long time. I'm going to fully accept this, and then I'm going to hand it over to you because I obviously don't know how to drive this car. I do not know how to drive I keep driving down the same fear roads because that's where my point of reflection is. That's where my point of attraction is. Instead of me being able to get out of this crappy job and move into my teaching role or make money doing what I love, I keep creating, horrible clients and not enough clients, and this ebb continues, and I need some flow. And so what higher self is doing is higher self is really putting on the pressure right now. It's really putting on the pressure right now for you to wake up and to look at your patterns and to fully accept the vibration that you've been operating in, maybe most of your life, and be able to let go of some anchors and move up the frequency chart into a higher state of being where the solutions, magic, and miracles reside. Because it is only when we let go of the way that we've been doing it. See, we've learned incorrectly how to do this thing called life. Life is actually just supposed to flow. We are not in control of life. We are in the flow of life. And whenever we feel the need to be in control, we are in a fear pattern. Whenever we feel alone, we are in a fear pattern. Whenever we feel like the answers are not coming and we're blocked and we're stuck, we are in a fear vibration. And so all we have to do is look at this little frequency chart that should be on everybody's refrigerator and look at it in completely lack of judgment and go, oh, well, no wonder my reality's showing up this way. I've been in fear. I've been in self-judgment. I've been in stuck in this humiliation pattern where I don't want to put myself out there because I don't want to be judged. I'm in grief. Every time I love someone, they leave me, or my loved ones leave me anyways, or my family doesn't understand me, or I've just been completely numb to the fact that I even could love in the first place. And as we really accept, acceptance is the true definition of love. As soon as you accept where you are and honor it without judgment, you propel up the frequency chart. Matter of fact, as soon as you move into acceptance is also another word of gratitude because there's an understanding point there. You understand yourself. And as soon as you understand yourself, you move out of judgment. And as soon as you move out of judgment, you move into a higher state of being. And that higher state of being now, if you can hold that place and just continue to surrender and say, wow, this is a whole new place for me to be. And the how is never your job. The how has always been the universe's job. But see, here's the thing. When you're in fear, you force the how. I must know how. I have expectations. I must know what the meaning of this relationship is. I must know why this client is doing this to me. Everything is taken personally. And so if you're feeling any of those things, it's just a fear pattern and it's time to let go. And it's time to let go of all of it. Stop taking things personally. Know that the universe right now is gifting you everyone that's treating you poorly as a reflection of you who have been treating yourself poorly or neglecting or abandoning yourself. And that's a lot. And so as we move into this place of surrender, the unbecoming process happens very, very quickly and swiftly. And we can move through the old selves very quickly and integrate them karmically. Because again, June is about balancing point. June is about balancing the things that you have had done to you and done to others, which means that everything that you've put out is coming back, good and bad. So, and there's no bad, there's just reflection of absence of light, which is appeared darkness. So everything is kind of becoming balanced right now. So if people are treating you negatively right now, higher self is just getting you balanced. It's saying, okay, people are treating you badly. You had to play the dark for someone in 1986, and so now you need to integrate that balance, move out of that guilt, shame vibration, move back into acceptance and love, and move on to the next pattern. Move on to the next pattern. See, higher self is integrating you very quickly for the ascension. It's integrating you so quickly right now that you think that, oh my God, that guy just never called me back. But what's happening is higher self is utilizing that to put you into this feeling space of abandonment so that you can process 100,000 years of abandonment in that one ghosted action of that person. And here we are feeling all like butthurt about someone not paying attention to us when higher self is literally manifesting very large amounts of karmic balancing energy. And karma is not bad. Karma is cause and effect. It's physics. It's just frequency and vibration that needs to balance out. Your positive and your negative energies, your dark and your lights, your male and your females need to become balanced in order to fully move through the alchemy process. And that's why I'm working on right now a star grid that is a Merkaba. And the star grid of this Merkaba, it's funny, as I've been doing my collective work over the last 7 years, I have completed the star. And the star is basically the seven chakras, the 7 steps of manifestation, the 7 steps to time travel, the 7 steps to quantum clearing, and the 7-year cycles. And that makes up the 5-pointed star. And I just completed that in my 7th year. So it's been full circle for me, but what I'm understanding is timing is divine, and every place you are right now is the perfect place for you to practice your higher levels of becoming, which means everything you're manifesting right now is your practice points. You're practicing new levels of awareness, and you're learning how to behave differently in those new places of awareness. And so when you're feeling stuck, take action. Get out of your head, get into your body, and start moving your body. You know, moving meditations are a great thing to do right now, with fast, energized music that gets you feeling like higher self. Have conversations with your guides, two-way communications that you think you're making up. You're not making it up when you're in a high frequency. You are talking directly to the God spark within yourself that is higher self. And that is going to be how you can teleport very quickly into that next parallel reality that is your highest excitement. But right now, if you are in fear, you are still going to have to use highest excitement in order to move up the frequency charts if you're not aware, which means that everything you're doing right now is a direct reflection of exactly where you're vibrating. So if you're looking for a relationship right now and you are in the chronic state of feeling grief from the last relationship, then your highest excitement is going to be to attract someone else to hurt you. And then you're going to be like, why is this person hurting me? But you have to realize that like attracts like. And they will think you are hurting them too, because they're in the frequency of I'm being hurt. And there will be a big miscommunication that goes on. And I've watched it go on in my house, like with myself and my friends. And it's just been hilarious when you look at it from a higher perspective, because all we're doing is matching ourselves perfectly to the chronic vibration that we're holding. So I just wanted to do my first podcast and kind of tie up some loose ends and re-welcome myself to you. You know, I always like to push myself on everybody because, you know, that's how this is very healing and energetic for me to be able to speak and to share what I'm going through with all of you, and hope that something in my voice is a resonant point and will speak to you through your higher self as well. And, you know, we're all going through our own personal war right now as the world gets ready for war. And we are here to be on the front line to receive and heal and bring back the old shamanic roots and the old sacred knowledge in order to heal the world properly through what is love divine and nothing other than that, which is your only ammunition for the rest of your life. Every problem that ever needs to be fixed for the rest of existence will just be love. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will be podcasting hopefully every other day, and just, you know, giving you guys the messages from my heart to yours, and direct you to other places where you can find me. Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life on Facebook. You can find us for a more accelerated journey, which is TICA, Transcendence International Consciousness Academy, which is on our website access, which is www.transcendencekc.com. Or you can give us a call and talk to someone, one of our A-team members, and get on your path of becoming. So happy unbecoming, and June should help you with that in your balancing act. So look at everything as a gift. Look at everything as a missing piece to your next location of your treasure hunt. See the higher perspective of yourself when you feel lost in the dark, which means turn on your flashlight. And to hold sacred those ones that are in connection and vibration of unconditional love and non-judgment with you right now. And stay plugged in to the things that bring you joy and excitement and love and peace.